We got some schools so stupid they give kids contract while they're still here.
Deion Sanders is going to get is a Florida boy. Major update in the world of Colorado. I know CFB Tings hasn't talked about college football in a while, but here we are speaking about it with a transfer portal update about Mr. Isaiah Augustive. Now, the last time we gave an update, it wasn't very positive for Isaiah. And, there's a lot of people saying that, whether some bridges burned or XYZ, but he went over to Virginia, committed, and then ended up not actually going to the school, decommitted, reopening up his, commitment process and recruiting process. First off, can we just talk about all the things that are messed up in college football? The transfer portal is the beginning and end of it, because why are people committing in the middle of June? I don't know, but that's not the point. The point is he has now committed to an SEC school, which is nothing new for the former Arkansas Razorback, right? Or, and former Colorado Buffalo. But let's go ahead and update you on the full story as it stands. Go over some stats. Go over South Carolina, because they're a school who lost a lot, clearly to the draft. But then they also have very high potential and a lot of high expectations with Lenore Sellers. You got Stewart back on the defensive line as well. And I think a little bit of help with a taller running back probably would do them well in the SEC. So if you enjoy college football, go ahead and leave a like on the video. Dislike if you don't like it. Subscribe if you enjoy that content, and hit the bell icon to never miss a video. Let's hop right into it. So kind of like I already laid out, he was initially from Arkansas. He was a Razorback, doing it big over there. Again, a taller running back. 6'2" is a little taller for running backs. 6'2", 210 pounds, SEC experience. He was the lead rusher for the Colorado Buffaloes last year. And to be honest with you, it was a lethargic running game, so it's not much to lead. But in fact, did lead Colorado last year. So a bit of a big loss, depending on what you think about. At the time, they still had Brandon Hoodie into the transfer portal as well, but it wasn't as big of a loss because of that. And of course, Dallin Hayden seems to be staying put for Colorado as well. But you lose Isaiah, and not only did you lose Isaiah, you lost him to Virginia. And we're gonna get into those videos of Deion Sanders calling out Virginia and calling out the fact that there were some contracts that were being put into place, and it seemed like clearly Isaiah didn't get his bread, so he had to decommit, and somehow he ended up in a better place. I don't know how that's possible. But if this proves anything, it proves that Isaiah had suitors at a higher level than Virginia. No disrespect to Virginia, but a SEC school is going to trump Virginia anytime. You're telling me, and who knows what connections he had or what opportunities he had, but there's no way you're telling me with the transfer portal being closed, a 6'2" SEC experience, lead rusher and last team, you're not going to tell me that he didn't make his decision to go to Virginia because of NIL or not because of money. And which is fine, get your money, but this is a clear, if he had the ability to play in the SEC, and not just an SEC school, I want it to be known that South Carolina is a team now, and they're projected to be a team. Paul Feinbaum has them as one of the sleepers in college football, one of the teams on the rise. So not only did Isaiah join just a team or just an SEC team, you joined an SEC team that is a lot of people's favorite to make a college football run. A lot of people were mad they didn't make the college football last year. Just Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin was the only one mad that there wasn't another SEC school in the college football playoff. But let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at some stats and some facts. This is obviously from one of the websites we use. We will continue to use in the season. Anytime we do our breakdowns, our projections, we talk about some of the few stats. I want to talk about specifically how South Carolina's offense looked last year, right? For the offense points a game, they were 51. So about top to mid part of the league, right? There's 300 and not 344, 134. So that's going to be there. 134, 133, depending on who you ask. Anyway, yards a game, number 54. So still in that range. Points of play, 61. Yards of play, 70. Third down conversions, number 63. Yes, that's a little rough. Fourth down conversion don't really matter to me, to be honest with you, but 86 if that has anything to do with it. Red zone scoring, an abysmal 108. And you would think with a mobile quarterback and Rocket Sanders, who did get drafted, and we're going to talk about South Carolina because they're not the worst when it comes to returning talent, but dog, they lost a lot of talent. They don't got a lot of returning talent, so that needs to be addressed as well. Rush play percentage, they were 21st in the nation in rush play percentage, but only 71st in yards or rush, which is interesting, and number 11 in rushes a game, and number 35 in rush yards a game. So not a very efficient bunch, but it seems like Beamer ball is all about go ahead and press and running back dive and read option and different things like that. So to be honest with you, it lends itself well for Isaiah to make another big step, because at this point you're coming into an SEC offense that already wants to hand the ball off. They want to get the ball in Lenore Sellers' hands to do not just throw it, but to also get loose with it. So everybody knows about Isaiah if you're a Colorado fan and knows what he brings, what he can bring. And I do think that a lot of Colorado fans have a nasty taste in their mouth with Isaiah, but you just have to understand at the end of the day, this is college football. I'm a Texas fan at heart, right? Again, I'm also, a fan of Colorado as well. But I'm a Texas fan, you know what I'm saying? Like some of y'all are Colorado, like that's your team, you know what I'm saying? So it stings a lot differently. And I'm saying that because we lose a lot of teams. We lose often wide receivers. Oh my God, we be losing wide receivers everywhere in the transfer portal. So I understand what that can feel like, especially when it's somebody who's contributed so much, like Isaiah. But at the same time, do understand that Deion Sanders was more than equipped for this, right? We saw that he brought in some replacements, which we're going to talk about, who was also a former SEC back, who did play at Coastal Carolina, did some things. But before that, I do want to talk about Paul Feinbaum and what he looks like, or how he views South Carolina. Again, Lenore Sellers probably has the only person with more hype than Lenore Sellers coming into next year is like Jeremiah Smith and Arch Manning, right? Before we do that, read some of the comments. I am doing this live, so be on the lookout for more lives if you're watching this video just on the YouTube channel. I'm trying to integrate that a little more. If you want to see more of them, y'all let me know. But gotta read it on the chat, see what they're doing. Check out what they're saying. So Stacy says, what's up, chat? New there. Melissa says, every content creator on YouTube trying to make $1 Shador name, just posting anything for views. Well, Melissa, you probably should watch a little longer because you might have a different opinion of me. Stacy says, Augusta has a baby. He needs the money. And there's, Augustive, but you know what I'm saying. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Hayden is going to be the truth. I do think so. Every time we saw him in Well Off Media, and this is Mark Smith, by the way, in the chat, every time we've seen Dallin Hayden, for you Colorado fans, he's just been looking explosive. There's been no conversations about him leaving, so seems to be decent. Stacy says, Melissa Porter, this guy has been posting $12 in Colorado videos. Oh, has been posting like 12. Okay, yeah. And again, that's another thing, Melissa. You can go back for a while. I'm sorry, but just because I'm doing this live, and a lot of people, Melissa, you're right. There are a lot of content creators trying to make money off Shador, off of Deion Sanders. Here's the difference with me. First, I think I'm pretty fair. I'm not as biased as a lot of them are, but there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being biased. I am still a little biased. But also, you can go watch. You can go back in time and watch my video. I was making preseason video. I'm not preseason video. I was making, middle of the week pregame videos. I was making post-game reactions. I was making, I was there, and I was doing it not with them, just with Colorado. I was doing it with other teams too. And it's not my fault, Melissa, that y'all enjoy Colorado content. Ain't nothing wrong with enjoying Colorado. Is it wrong to give the people what they want? Is that a crime? Of course not. Going back to the comments. What's it called? Isaiah says, why did he sign for what did he sign for at South Carolina? No, I haven't seen any money figures yet. But for an SEC school, a running back position, I have to assume it's a few dollars. Okay. Virginia couldn't match up his college credits for the transfer. Okay. Mark says it's a college credit thing. Interesting. Isaiah says he needs to follow the bag, honestly, and try to get in an education. Does anyone know what's going on with Coach Prime's health? He will be returning very soon. Ray, that's the last update we have. So getting back into Isaiah Augustive and really to close out his team, and that is the Gamecocks over there in South Carolina. And it is that Paul Feinbaum names sleeper college football teams on the rise. And again, I don't really think that South Carolina is a sleeper team, but they are definitely a team that is known to be on the rise. The 2024 college football season showcased several teams with promising performances, resulting in some surprising selections for the inaugural 12-team college football playoff. However, a few teams narrowly missed the cut. One such team was South Carolina, who finished the season with a record of 9-4, the same as Colorado, and ranked number 15 in the final college football playoff rankings. This marked their best season since 2013. Wow. The Gamecocks were led by quarterback Lenore Sellers, a redshirt freshman who threw for 2,534 yards, completed 18 touchdown passes, and had only 7 interceptions. Additionally, he rushed for 674 yards and scored 7 rushing touchdowns. Due to his impressive performance this season, ESPN's Paul Feinbaum expressed in his optimism about the Gamecocks' prospects on becoming the season of the show. Paul Feinbaum. He says, I think they're going to do really well. I think they have an elite quarterback in Lenore Sellers. I think they have a lot of compliments around him. They also have a schedule that's maybe challenging, but a little bit more managing even last year when they had to go against Clemson and to Alabama. So I really like what I see from the program. The Gamecocks ranked number 71 in the nation for returning production. Wow. Number 71 in the nation for returning. That's tough. With only 56% of their players returning. However, they do bring back 65% of their offensive production, which is important. Despite this, ESPN has identified South Carolina as one of the most likely to regress teams this season. Okay, that's interesting. ESPN's Bill Connelly noted that the teams has several key positions to fill, particularly on the offensive line, where they are missing 3 starters and nearly all of their front 6 players, except for the start. What? Particularly on the offensive line, where they were missing 3 starters and nearly all of the front 6 players except for star Dylan Stewart. I guess they're talking about on the defensive side. You gotta switch it, dog. You gotta let us know you're talking about defense. Only 6 of the 15 defenders who played more than 200 snaps last season are returning. South Carolina will begin its season August 31st when it faces Virginia Tech Hokies. So that's something to look out to. So when it comes to Isaiah, it is what it is, right? He's done what he does, and I think, I've shared the sentiment that I wish him the best. I don't like when people get on here and try to be like, oh my God, he's a traitor, he's this, he's that. What he is a young man trying to figure out what's best for him and his family as he navigates a lot of different things in the world of NIL, college football, and as it constantly changes. I mean, there was just an NIL ruling recently about the house settlement, so things are going to only continue to change and continue to update. So, it's just an interesting perspective. Now, coming back to Colorado and what they gained. So, Colorado went ahead and picked up a running back, and I know they've already picked up other running backs, but we got other videos on that. Y'all go check them out. So, Colorado has added to their running back room 6 foot, 215-pound Simeon Pierce. So he also played for Mississippi State and Coastal Carolina. Finished last season with 44 carries, 136 yards, 3 yards per carry. I believe he redshirted and shut his season down. I didn't see anything about injury, but we're about to read this article really quickly about him. One thing I do want to point out, again, it seems like maybe not by choice, but it seems like, Deion is going away, or Colorado in general is going away from the taller back that they seem to like. Seems like they, maybe he wasn't going for taller running backs, but they had some taller running backs. But now with Isaiah gone, now you get, Damian, 6 foot is still almost on the taller end of running backs, but still it's not a giant 6'2" or 6'1", whatever. So interesting just build-wise to look at that. We talk about that with his corners. Deion Sanders has a type for corners and defensive back, and that's rangy, that's long. If anything 6'1" and above, he loves that at the cornerback position, and you start to see that with the running back position and how kind of what type of bodies are they looking to fill those positions, and what that looks like for their offense in general. What does that look like for pass pro? What does that look like for receiving? Obviously, because usually you have that receiving back for Colorado, but those things might change as the offense progresses and as different quarterbacks obviously take hold. So let's hear a little bit about Simeon Pierce. So BuffStampede.com has confirmed running back Simeon Pierce has committed to transfer to Colorado after spending a season at Coastal Carolina and 3 years at Mississippi State. The 6 foot 215 price gain 143 yards. I talked about that. He had an impressive 80.8 pass protection grade. Okay, so that, just like I alluded to, maybe there's other ways that you try to contribute. It's not just in the running game, but it can also be in this same sort of setup where it's really coming from, it's really coming from how can I support in different ways, right? How can I support the team in different ways? And if it's just a third down back that can catch out the backfield and have an elite pass protection grade, I think that's great. Price previously played in 24 games playing in the SEC at Mississippi State. After redshirting with the Bulldogs in 2021, Price led the team with a career-high 68 rushing yards on 7 attempts against Illinois at the ReliaQuest Bowl as a sophomore. Overall, he averaged 5.5 yards on 35 rushing attempts and averaged 8.3 yards on 15 catches during his time at Mississippi State. A top 100 Florida recruit coming out of Pensacola, West Florida. And another thing Deion Sanders is going to get is a Florida boy. You know that. West Florida Tech in 2021. Price had more than 20 other offers when he committed to Mississippi State, including an offer from Oklahoma and Tennessee. What made you commit to Mississippi State? That there is some real wizardry going on around there. A former junior Olympian that ranked in the top 5 nationally in a long jump, Price also won regional gold medals in 400-meter dash. With 1 year of eligibility remaining, Price will join a Colorado running back room that also includes seniors Charlie Offendahl, juniors Dallin Hayden and DeCallan Taylor, and sophomore Micah Welch. Micah Welch is still there. So many running backs transferred because obviously Brandon Hood and Colton Hood transferred. I forgot Micah Welch was still here. But just to wrap up, this is another little piece here that kind of talks about Price is a back who can block and kind of just highlights more of what Price brings to the offense. So I think it adds an addition that, not to say we haven't seen from Colorado, but I definitely do think it's something that adds a lot more dynamism to the passing game. I don't know how to say words. I struggle with it from often. So I do want to backtrack really quick just to end this video, and then I'm gonna read some comments, and then we'll go from there. I just want to walk us through what happened, right? Now Isaiah, entered the transfer portal, went to Virginia, and the biggest thing here was that Deion Sanders was calling it out, and we're gonna just watch these 3 videos where he calls out some of the NIL problems, right, and does that. But obviously, Virginia poaches a few different players, Isaiah clearly being one of them. Deion's going to tell you that bags were offered and things were promised that apparently just couldn't happen, right? And then ultimately, at the end of the day, when people look at the negativity or the clown show that people like to call Colorado, it's interesting that they're not caught in things like this when it comes to offering people crazy contracts, offering big bills, and doing the nastiness. So it's an interesting perspective. But one last thing before we even get to this and we get to the NIL, I want to put something in your head, and that is the fact that he's signing to an SEC school. I kind of alluded to this and I touched on this just a slight bit, but I think that's major when you talk about the fact that he went to Virginia. You know what I mean? Again, no disrespect to Virginia, or still a respected football program. And Mississippi State is the worst team in the SEC no, sorry, not Mississippi State. I'm stupid. Tripping. South Carolina. So it's specifically for South Carolina, who's looked at as a contender, right? I think that's interesting that you go from Virginia, who's a good team, and it's got good players, and this is a respected team, and it's produced some NFL players. You go to that to, South Carolina, SEC team, produced, so many NFL players, a contender for a college football playoff. Probably NIL bags are a little different over there. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's an interesting perspective that he still made that decision, probably because of the bag. I would have to hope, right? But if you had SEC offers, that's some craziness. Or maybe the SEC offers are the reason why, I know some people alluded to he had problems transitioning over his credits, but at the end of the day, that's the problem. The problem is y'all don't even know if the kid can transition credits, and y'all are offering money. And just like Coach Prom says,
Virginia, you got to stop. I let you have one. I ain't say nothing about it. Hold him up. Come on now. Come on.
So that was that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember this. And this one was a lot more direct.
We got some tremendous guys identified this in the portal that we felt like we're going to be in the portal. We don't jump the gun on that stuff because the last thing I want to hear is my name associated with tampering or anything like they do our kids. We got contracts. We got some schools so stupid they give kids contracts while they're still here. I don't understand that whatsoever. Like, NCAA, y'all got to do something, man. Don't just sit there on your hands and open them up and so everybody could grease you during palms and make a ton of money off everybody and don't have nothing to say about nothing. I don't understand that part. But portals is going to be good to us. I think we have several players coming this weekend, which I'm excited to see along with what we already have in-house.
So obviously Deion Sanders was very, very adamant about it. And at first I think we all looked at it as, or some people looked at it as a failure when he reopened up his how you say recruitment, but it seems like I think he's ended up in a better place at this point. When you go from Colorado to Virginia, you went down. You know what I'm saying? It's clear to see you went down. You're not gonna get more NIL looks unless he was just literally offering you cash. But notoriety and looks, I mean, you're gonna have the cameras everywhere. You go to South Carolina, that's pretty fair. When you talk about hype and you talk about notoriety, it ain't gonna be no Deion's house, but what I'm saying, a little different flavor, a little different situation. But that's it for the update. Both for Isaiah Augustive, wish him the best. It's gonna be interesting to watch him. Now we're going to be watching him in the SEC, so we'll keep up with the story, see if he's impactful in any way, shape, form, or fashion. We got obviously a different looking running back room for Colorado. We'll continue to update that as we have updates and things of that nature. But really enjoy y'all watching these videos. I hope you enjoy it. If you do like it, dislike it. If you don't like it, subscribe if you enjoy football content of all shapes and sizes. Hit the bell icon not to miss anything, and we will see you next time. Continue being great.